Welcome to the first part of the guide for the Industrial Upgrade mod. Today we'll go over how to begin progressing in this mod. What is the primitive era? How do you progress through it? We'll go over that today. Let's start with the first topic. Generation. All generation in the mod is significantly changed. Vanilla generation is gone. Specifically, vanilla ores are gone. Now all ores spawn as veins. There are three types of veins: spherical, toroidal, and standard mixed veins. How do you find a vein? Each one has its own indicator stones. For example, we have a stone here, and here's another one. There can be several in the same area. What does this stone mean? If you see only 5 stones nearby, it means it's a small, regular vein. Such veins contain around 2 to 3 stacks of ore. That's in total, all combined. If there are up to 10 stones, you'll find around 3 to 7 stacks of ore. If you see more than 10 to 15, then you're lucky. That vein contains 7 to 11 to 15 stacks. So how do you find them easily? When you spawn in survival mode, you're given a special item called an ore scanner. Open it. You'll see the main panel, where you can hover over any ore and get its coordinates. There's a panel of ore blocks. It shows the ores currently in your area. It works within a 9 by 9 chunk area. If the ore doesn't exist in that range, it won't be listed. You can also type the name of an ore here. Typing the name is super convenient. You can also filter the list. For example, if I need silver ore, I click it and see its location. Here's nickelite, iridium ore, titanium ore, chotonite, arsenic, tin. You can also combine them. No one is stopping you from doing that. That's it. Also shows the direction you are looking. For example, I'm looking that way. Or over here. That's it. It updates. Very convenient. One more note. When you hover over a stone, you can immediately see the name of the vein. For example, mine says nickelite 50%. That means it's a mineral, 44% titanium ore and 56% nickelite ore. What is a mineral? Great question. Many people ask why it exists and what it's for. A mineral always spawns in the center of a vein, if it's allowed. You can process the mineral in a mineral separator with heat to obtain ores. In this case, titanium ore and nickelite. Same goes for others. For example, check the mineral separator with nickelite. You can see data about the vein. There are 36 types in total in the game. That's a lot. Each one is useful for survival in its own way. They are easy to mine and usually drop raw ore. Here's the raw ore. You can smelt it to get a processed material. Also, when playing in survival, you're given a guidebook. It contains essential information. There are quests inside. Quests can be completed automatically, as long as you hold the item in your hand. For example, this one requires an electrum ingot. And the quest is completed. Everything works perfectly. Let's move to the core part. The primitive era begins with crafting an anvil. The anvil is a unique mechanism, you could say. It's the first mechanism in the primitive era. Primitive machines have skills. What's a skill? It's experience, gained from completing a recipe. So you finish a process, get an item, and gain experience. This experience accumulates and increases your recipe processing speed. For example, what used to take 5 seconds may now take 3. Awesome. But besides that, there's also durability. Only 3 machines have durability. The anvil, the primitive crusher, and the primitive compressor. Let's see how the anvil works. Here we have a hammer. There are 2 types, regular and obsidian. Durability is 3 times, but what's the point? The obsidian hammer works 2 times faster at completing its task. So, for example, an iron ingot. We place it, and we have the setup. There's also an animation. Like this. Perfect. Everything is working. Now let's try it with the hammer. Done. It works perfectly. Absolutely perfect. See? We got an item. Right-click to pick it up. Done. Excellent. So how do we repair it? It says here that we need a titanium ingot. We take the titanium ingot in hand. Don't just right-click. Hold Shift and right-click. That way we repair the anvil. 1 ingot. Restores 100 durability. Now in survival you'll need to build your first multi-block, the smeltery. Here's the recipe for the casing. Here are the alloys. The recipe is very simple. It used to be much harder before. There, all good. As we can see, we need a controller. We need to craft the controller. You can also view what ingredients are required. We see 1 controller, 5 fins, a casting mechanism, 18 tanks, 3 fuel tanks, and 74 codex blocks. And to help you build this multi-block easier, you can simply place it like this. And it will show you how to place it. Yes, with shaders it may appear semi-transparent and so on. That's normal if you're not using shaders. If you don't like how it looks, that's fine. You can press Shift and click the controller. Same goes for the furnace. It's all very convenient. Like this. How does it work? We open the interface. There's useful information here. These are the tanks. There's a separation process, mixing process, and a combined mixing process. Lava is used as fuel, and basalt lava can also be used as fuel. To cast items, you'll need 2 molds. A gear mold and an ingot mold. Let's use the example of creating. We place the molds, but it doesn't work yet. Let's add basalt lava. go ahead. We add basalt lava here. Open it. Now it works, and we can see the working speed. It's just amazing. Very fast. Extremely. Now let's try adding regular lava. There. It's going to be slower. You'll see now. See how much slower it gets? We've got nickel and iron. We see the IndustrialUpgrade recipe. Type IndustrialUpgrade. Look up the IndustrialUpgrade recipe. It requires 1 nickel ingot and 1 iron ingot. So what do? We click on nickel, then on iron, and press mix. We get IndustrialUpgrade, but we don't want to keep doing that manually. It's tedious. We press all in, and we get all the ingots at once. Now then, how do we get the ingot itself? Very simple. We take a casting mold, place it here, and select IndustrialUpgrade from the list. The key that it must be the first selected. But we ran out of lava. Unfortunately, we need to refill it, take some, and fill it back up. And fill it again. Done. The process has started. Insert the capsules here. There. The process is running, and that's it. We get the IndustrialUpgrade ingot. We do the same thing to craft a gear. Place it, take the ingots, and we get the gear. All good. Perfect. But after crafting, how do we progress? We mostly need to move into electrical processing. IndustrialUpgrade will be even more necessary in steam power and electricity. So why do we need electricity? We need to make a primitive liquid heater. There's even a chip, and it's crafted very easily from bronze plates. Bronze is made here, but why does it feel like everything costs so much? It's all very simple. We're in the primitive era, and the primitive era is primitive for a reason. As we can see here, everything looks fine, but things are expensive. That's because in the primitive era, everything has high costs. We're still learning, so we place the heater. The key is that there must be a lava source beneath it. It starts heating up, and we can pour liquid into it. Our goal is to get steam, so we need to add water into it. It will start working once it reaches 500 degrees, so we wait and wait and wait. We can also see the process indicator. There. The texture changed, and the process began. Now while it works, let's look into heavier. Yes, heavier was added. It's already slightly depleted here. So the heavy tree is added in the mod. Just like in IndustrialCraft². But there are some inaccuracies. In IndustrialCraft's laboratory, there are only 3 types of heavier. The normal one, swampy, and tropical. Each type has a different leaf color. The normal one is green, the swampy one is more grayish. And the tropical one is brighter green and more saturated. So how do we get latex? It's very simple. We take a tap and click on the vein. And we get latex. But it's raw latex. It can't be processed yet. So what do? We take a primitive latex extractor, place the item, and use a tap to press the button. The process completes, and we get liquid latex. So how do we collect it? We need a capsule. Thing is, we need to process about 10 latex units to get 1000 of liquid latex. We won't be doing that just yet. Let's speed it up a bit. We have a capsule, and we insert it into the dryer. Right-click the drying machine and wait. Rubber will appear. It's generating rubber. And now this rubber can be processed. The processed latex turns into usable rubber. That's it. Very easy, and you gain skill from doing it. Everything is really simple. In IndustrialUpgrade, there's also an agriculture system, just like in IndustrialCraft². You can brew beer. Special beer that gives effects. For example, I'll type it like this. We have different types of beer, and various recipes. They provide different effects, like strange dark, which gives slowness, and so on, just like in other mods. How do you brew them? You need water, hops, and wait. Let's say we want to brew strong white beer. We need 3 hops, 7 wait, and 2 hours. So we take. Oh, let me show it better. We click, and yes, it actually. Says 67123, and we add them into this 23. It tells us what kind of beer it will be. Everything is written, and the timer starts. The timer also shows up. Then we take a mug. That part comes later, and that's it. Now, how do you grow crops? It's all very It's very simple. We have trellises, and just like in Minecraft or IndustrialCraft, we need to place them like this. A trellis. Everything works perfectly. Now we take seeds. Each seed indicates what kind of soil it requires. For example, let's plant one. There's also data available. For instance, it shows how many ticks have passed, expected drop type, fertilizer usage, and pesticide info. You also see generation and gins. Fertilizer use speeds up growth, and we can see it speeding up. That's how growth happens. But what does something like 16 to 40 mean? It means, for example, if you go over that threshold, the chance of generating weeds increases. Also notice that the number went from 16 to 15. That means the fertilizer's effect is wearing off. In other words, after a certain amount of time, you can use fertilizer again. Generation happen. When we harvest, its generation increases, and after a certain generation, mutations can occur. A mutation increases the number of genes, and we have a lot of genes. A whole lot. This part is for bees. We'll cover that later. These ones are for crops. There are many. Radiation resistance, fertility, faster growth, radiation contamination, resistance to adaptation or full adaptation. There are lots of genomes. We'll look into them later. For example, you can also grow other plants. It even tells you how to obtain them at the bottom. If you need to combine them, let's say we need potato and orange tulip, what do? We've got a potato. Here it is, potato. We also have an orange tulip. How do we actually combine them? It's very simple. Use a crop combiner. Yes, the primitive combiner allows you to do this. Here, we take it. Remove this. We don't need that for now. Do it like this. It even says here we need ore. Place the ore like this. Place it here. Then place it a second time. That's the combination process. Place potato here, tulip, potato, tulip. That's it. Now we need them to grow. Fully grow. Do this, speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're grown. Now we wait until a certain time, and we'll get a seed, to quickly collect the seed, to quickly collect the seed. For example, say we've planted this next to the potato. Hold Shift and right-click it. Done. We collect it. Also, to view the drops, you can press Shift. Hold Shift, and you can see what the drop will be. That's it. Now we just have to wait. But I can't wait just yet. Let's plant something else. Cow, thanks. Let's plant now. This one's golden, this is. Oh, there. You can also fertilize, receive. So, golden, oh, planted. You can fertilize and harvest endlessly. There we go. For example, we have 8 pieces, and then 8 pieces become, but the dust can only be used in the smelting furnace. Here it is. We'll cover it later. Let the crossbreeding happen for now. I believe it can crossbreed. It doesn't cross immediately. Let's now talk about block mining. Alright, I've turned around. Sodium is a bit ruined by the render. Well, it's shaders. There are also hammers in the mod, 3 of them. The normal one, the 3x3 mining one, and the mineral hammer. What does this hammer do? For example, let's go to the deposit and try mining with the hammer. Bam. What does that mean? Since we have a mineral vein here, specifically a nickelite vein, we can get ores. See, by breaking them, there's a chance to get ores. By breaking them, you can get ore. Likewise, you can get diamond ore. It's a very simple method for getting diamonds and emeralds. Since diamond and emerald ores don't naturally generate, this is the only way to obtain them. Now let's look at these hammers. They mine 3x3 blocks, but their durability differs. The steel hammer has triple the durability. Look, it mines beautifully, really efficiently, perfect for mining. Fixed up the situation a bit, but here's the thing, the iron hammer is available right away, whereas the steel one. Let's move on. We also have machines, for example, the primitive crusher. So, how do we crush? Take flint and right-click the crusher. For example, this is what the process looks like. What does it mean? That means we're missing one more item. How do we fix the click again, and that's it. And the process begins. So it first detects the recipe, and then we add more elements. We start the process. A little crushing animation plays, and we get the dust. Same for compressing. Press 4 times and the process starts again. It's slow at first, but speeds up on the side. Keep clicking and the process completes. We get the item. Keep it going and the item is produced. Why do we need silicon dust, for example? To grow a crystalline silicon crystal. What do we need for it? We take the dust. We need 3 units. It says so. Then we need silicon. We click it. The timer starts. 12 minutes and 22 seconds. When the time's up, we get the grown version. In the electric version, we need regular silicon and silicon dust. Coal dust can also be used to speed things up. Next is an interesting machine, the fluid integrator. It's the first machine where processes occur with both liquids and items. In the process, we use a fluid and an item to get a new fluid and a processed item. For example, we have a grown crystal. It requires water. We add the water here. The process begins. The process runs and runs. It continues and continues. And we get hydrogen. There. And we also get a crystal. That crystal now needs to be processed in a primitive laser polisher. It works only during the day. It requires a laser item. Insert the laser, and the process begins. It's very quick. At first it's slow, but then it speeds up. We get a polished crystal. To turn the polished crystal into a disc, we need a primitive rolling machine. Click it, and we'll see the item. We need wire cutters. Use the cutters and the process starts. Boom. We have a disc. Done. And then we use this disc in the electro, which we'll cover in part 2. That's how to extract the PIP item. All good. Moving on, there's another nearby machine. It's the primitive wire insulator. How does it work? Very simple. We need a wire, for example. Then rubber, and wire cutters again. Click with the wire, then the rubber, and the process begins. Done. The process completes. We get the insulated wire. Very simple. Let's take a look at. Nothing has dropped yet, but we'll wait again. Next is another interesting machine, the gas. Combiner or gas chamber. Why is it used? It's needed to produce sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is made from sulfur trioxide and sulfur oxide. Sulfur oxide is made using pyrite in the fluid integrator. We need water and pyrite. Water and pyrite. The process begins. Water, pyrite, process, process. Repeats process, process. We get the item. It might not render due to shaders. That's normal. And we repeat the same process again. Every cycle runs, process after process, and there it is, it shows up. And again. And so on, over and over. There. And we get the dioxide. Then we take the dioxide. Here it is. Combine it with steam. How do we get steam? Some think you need a steam machine. Nope. Remember, we have the fluid system. For example, here we've collected 1,750 buckets. We run out of water. Add water here. Add water. The process starts again. We take this one, using a capsule, and we click here. Done. The process is running. The creation process. Stop. We need oxygen. I mixed it up. That was for something else. That's when we're already making sulfuric acid, already producing it. Oxygen is obtained using the electrolyzer. The electrolyzer. We'll cover how the electrolyzer works during the steam era. For now, we're still going through the primitive machines and how they function. Everything's going great. Already at 52. 56. Medium speed process. Everything is going well. And that's it. There. Moving on. We take it, and we need to process it into trioxide. Trioxide. It's done very, very simply. Extremely simple. Same procedure. Then we need to combine this trioxide again. What do? We take sulfur trioxide and add steam, and we get sulfate. Then this sulfate, we need to combine it with copper. There. We take the sulfate here, and copper here. We place the copper. The process has started, and we're making copper sulfate. We're getting copper. Then that copper sulfate can be used for various purposes. Your own purposes. So we have 200 millibuckets here. Then we put these in two, but now we'll need a prototype of a circuit board. We combine them here and get a finished circuit board. Then we'll program it. Programming here just means turning it into the standard version, not writing actual code, as some might think. Next, we have a few more machines. The last trio, I think, includes the heavy anvil, the refractory furnace, and the mini platform. What does that mean? We can crush, but we need the crushed version. We can't get the crushed version from the primitive crusher, only from the regular or steam-powered crusher, so we craft it using the anvil, and only obsidian hammer works. Other types of hammer won't work. We take it. Now we have the crushed version. We click it. It doesn't work. Why? Because it needs lava. Lava directly beneath it. We do that. The process starts. No percentage shown. And the liquid is transferred through the pipes. That's it. It's transferred through the pipes and we get raw nickel. This raw version needs to be inserted into a polarizer, the electric version. Or, well, it can also go into the primitive version. So we place it here. Insert the ingot. Oops, yikes. There's the ingot. Laser. And we click with the laser. Done. And we receive the ingot. This method is actually very fast. Yes, it seems long, but it's primitive and works great. Let's check if it has grown yet. Nope, not yet. Still no luck. It's better to do it in several rows. Eventually it will be created, crossbred. Well, that's it. Today we covered the basic concepts. Specifically, the basic concepts of the primitive era. That's great. Now you're equipped with the core knowledge of the primitive era in this mod. In the next part, we'll talk about steam machines. We'll talk about generating peat, saltpeter, and calcium. We'll also talk about bees. Added by the mod. That's all for now. Thank you all for watching this guide about industrial upgrade, specific the primitive era, and good luck to all of you.